Alright guys, the anticipation is over once again, and welcome to this very special edition of the Main Event Talk right here on YouTube. I am the main event player, the Super C, and if you guys had an opportunity to check out the last episode of Monday Night Raw, and I'm not talking about the last episode, I'm talking basically it's the last episode on the road to WrestleMania, and we're getting closer and closer, 6 days away. Oh man, the main event's already got everything set up. Everything from the barbecue to the sodas to the beer, and everyone is going to be a part of WrestleMania this year. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to be old school about this. Look, I wouldn't mind. The main event wouldn't mind paying WrestleMania for only $9.99. Wouldn't mind. But the problem is, if I had a smart TV or anything in that particular nature to hook WrestleMania up, I could find a way to hook WrestleMania, smart TV and all, in the living room, and then find a way to connect it also outside of the house for everyone to check out WrestleMania. That is how I roll. So yes, I am going to pay for the $64.99 deal, okay? Why? Because it's worth it and it's WrestleMania, okay? I know some people are probably thinking it's stupid and you're out of your mind. Here's the thing. I only have a smartphone. That's it. I have I don't have the WWE Network yet, but it's still in the works, okay? Budget crisis, all that other stuff. You know how it goes, all right? So, before I go ahead and talk about this episode, because this is about the people, the Hall of Fame, and who's a part of the 2015 Hall of Fame, I want to give you my analysis of each individual. But before I do that, I want to talk about tonight's episode of WWE Raw that took place tonight. First of all, you couldn't kick off the show better with Sting and Triple H in the middle of the ring. And you know what? It was great to see the Stinger in the ring, and it was just shocking to see him talk, and it was even crazier to see him face to face with Stephanie McMahon. Great moment. And then here comes, Sting goes ahead and blocks Stephanie from trying to slap him in the face. And then here comes the King of Kings, the Cerebral Assassin, the COO. Tries everything in his power to get in there and be the protecting husband that he is. And then all of a sudden, here's Stephanie coming out, pulling out the sledgehammer. And I'm not talking about that small thing in between Triple H's legs. I'm talking about the sledgehammer that he always uses every time when he goes up against an opponent. Stephanie takes a sledgehammer, Triple H tries to come to the ring, and then Sting prepares with the usual baseball bat in his hands. And who backs down? Of course, the sledgehammer backs down from the bat. Duh. And this whole epic encounter at WrestleMania, I can't wait. That's probably the most anticipated match that everyone's going to be looking forward to seeing. Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Can't wait for that. And I'm just going to, kind of go through, I'm not going to go through the entire episode of Raw because there were a few things that were cool, especially the whole thing with Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Dogg came out, did what he did, showed up, and then here comes Axel Mania. You know something? And I'm gonna go on record as saying this. Curtis Axel was okay, but after Paul Heyman, that was pretty much the end of his career right there. And with all due respect to Curtis Axel, he is never going to be his dad. Never. Mr. Perfect was and always will be the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. And for Curtis Axel to put out Axel Mania, and let me also bring up this one other part. Okay, let me see. The Royal Rumble was over like 3 months ago, and he's still keeping track? Okay, let's make something very clear. You can put a clock on the fucking wall and tell everybody that you are the longest reigning Royal Rumble entrant, however you want to. But fact this, the fact that the only way that you could be the longest reigning Royal Rumble entry winner is if you actually went into the ring. Okay? If you went into the ring, it would actually count. But if you didn't go to the ring, it doesn't count for shit regardless. So Curtis Axel, this Axel Mania crap Here's the thing. I don't like it. It's stupid. I hope it ends at WrestleMania. That's it. And by the way, Curtis Axel got an opportunity to meet the real Mania in Hulkamania. And that was a fucking shit. Seeing Snoop Doggy Dogg right there alongside with Hulk Hogan. Holy shit. That was truly a great Raw moment to check out. Now, and let's see, we also heard about the tag team titles being defended. It's going to be the part of the kickoff show. It's going to take place over at WrestleMania. It's going to be the WWE Tag Team Champions, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, to take on the Usos, to take on the El Matadors. And also, let's see who else is in there that I forgot. There's another team. Who was that other team? Usos, Tyson Kidd, El Matadors, and... well, that's really about it, right? Just them? There's a fourth team I seem to have forgotten. But anyways, that's going to take place. The Fatal 4-Way for the tag... I think it was the Primetime Players, right? Or something like that, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, the tag team titles will be decided at WWE WrestleMania, the kickoff show that takes place before WrestleMania actually starts. So that's going to take place also. Now, let's see, we went from the whole thing with Triple H and Sting, the whole thing with Hogan and Snoop Dogg. Bill Sims came out, which wasn't too big of a deal. And also, and just, speaking of Bill Sims, if you guys have heard the whole story, and I've seen it on YouTube and I've also seen it on Facebook, apparently there's going to be some sort of a E60-second deal on ESPN about something called Behind the Curtain, and I believe it has something to do with the NXT, which, that should be very, very interesting to watch, and I know everybody's going to be checking it out on ESPN. I believe it's coming on the 5th of May, 2015. That's what's going to take place, so the main event cannot wait to check that out on ESPN. Check it out, like I said, on May 15th, or May 5th, I'm sorry. May 5th, 2015. Can't wait to check that out. Now, let's see. I could talk about Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. I can talk about that situation. I can talk about how Dean Ambrose was a special guest referee for the match involving two great wrestlers in the form of Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, which was one hell of a match. And you know what? How is it? How is it that Daniel Bryan could not lose not once but twice to Dolph Ziggler? He loses it to him on Thursday night SmackDown, and then tonight on Raw he loses to him again. And then Dean Ambrose goes ahead and comes out and does what he does, and then here comes Luke Harper, here comes Bad News Barrett, here comes Stardust, here them all coming to the ring and basically fighting each other, and the only person that won the entire thing was, well, the ladder. Well, actually, if I think about it, they all were laid out, including the ladder. That's true. So, man, I can't wait for that matchup at WrestleMania. That's going to be the highlight of the match right there, besides Sting versus Triple H. The Intercontinental Championship matchup, it's hanging high above the ring, and the winner, all they got to do is retrieve the ladder, climb up, and retrieve the Intercontinental Championship. And like I said before, the last time the Intercontinental Championship was defended in a ladder match was at WrestleMania 10 over, I believe, 21 years ago, if I'm mistaken. So we've talked about that, and we've talked about a few other things as well. Let me get to the last part of Raw, which was probably, of every exciting moment that took place on Raw tonight, every single exciting moment, we went from all of that, and by the way, we also went from the, what was that other one? With Tyson Kidd and Natalya, that apparently they're endorsing Burger King, and all of a sudden here's fucking, the chicken fingers are back, chicken fries are back. Okay, first of all, and I'll tell you this, I like Burger King, first of all, okay? Burger King's good, and secondly, and I'm going to admit this because I can, seeing Natalya eat those chicken fries, that's what they are, chicken fries, seeing her eat those chicken fries, believe it or not, was a real turn on. And I think, is it just me, or did Natalya just cheat on Tyson Kidd with those chicken fries? Damn. But anyways, we go from the ridiculous to even the more ridiculous. And I'm talking about the whole thing that happened. Face-to-face encounter with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. First of all, Paul Heyman put out a badass promo, as only he can. Coming on the microphone, speaking his mind, saying what he says and everything. And then here comes Roman Reigns, here comes Brock Lesnar. And all I wanted to see was a push, a shove, a kick, a spear. That's all I wanted to see. Instead, we got them fighting over a championship belt. Which, like, you're sitting there like, okay, we went from Sting and Triple H in this badass encounter that's going to happen at WrestleMania, and then we go to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and you're like, that's it? That's it? You know what, if I want to hype up something like that, I at least want to see some physicality. Or at least a super punch or a Superman punch on Brock Lesnar. Or an F5 on Roman Reigns. I mean, just to make a statement. That's all you had to do. But instead, they just laid it out, all lamed out and stuff, and that was it. That was completely it. And all I have to say is, yes, I'm going to be looking forward to checking it out. It's not going to be much of a main event for WrestleMania, but remember the key element. The one thing Brock Lesnar will never admit. The fact that Roman Reigns does have a weapon to take down Brock Lesnar, and that is the spear. Now, Paul Heyman can ignore that all he wants to. But remember, Brock Lesnar got hit with a spear at the hands of Goldberg over 10 years ago, or 11 years ago at WrestleMania 20. Brock Lesnar's ribs still hurt. It's the truth. And if he gets hit with that spear not once but twice on Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar can say all he wants to about how he's the beast incarnate. Well, let me correct that. How is it that Paul Heyman is the one that's speaking on behalf of Brock Lesnar, saying what he wants about Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar is just going out and kicking ass like he can? Do you see a problem there? Roman Reigns speaks for himself. Paul Heyman speaks for Brock Lesnar. And at WrestleMania, whether Brock likes it or not, he gets hit with that spear, it's over for Brock Lesnar. Over, I tell you. And besides, it's only a matter of time before it is over for Brock Lesnar. Because we know he's going to the UFC. So look, and I'm saying this once again. You can believe in the internet, you can believe in anything they tell you, but I'm sticking to what I know, and all I know is, after WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar will no longer be the WWE Champion. And I highly doubt we'll see Brock Lesnar versus The Rock at next year's WrestleMania. I want that to be official and pinned and everything. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to happen, okay? Brock Lesnar will lose the championship to Roman Reigns, and then he'll go on to the UFC, and that's the last we'll see of the Beast Incarnate, okay? That's it. I can't wait for WrestleMania. Coming up this Sunday live on pay-per-view and on the WWE Network. It should be the fucking shit. Now, let's get out of everything, get everything out of the way, and now let's talk about the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And let me tell you something. This year's class of 2015 has 3 of the best talents, 3 of the greatest wrestlers to ever walk the face of the earth, and then you got the rest that don't mean a fucking thing. Okay? Don't mean anything. It's the truth. Now, I'm going to put aside the 3 over here, in the very corner on the side, and then I'm going to introduce you to the people that deserve to be in it, do not deserve to be in it, and everything. Let's start with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, what did he do in the WWE? He only did one thing and one thing only, and that was knock out Triple H on SmackDown. That's your Hall of Fame deal right there. You can call him Governor Schwarzenegger. You can call him the guy that came out of the movie Commando. You can call him the guy that came out of the Terminator movies. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies. I love them. I've seen them all, okay? Even Kindergarten Cop, okay? That's one of my all-time favorites right there. But the thing is, He is one of many celebrities that do not, I repeat, do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And the only reason why Arnold Schwarzenegger is even a part of the Hall of Fame is for that one little cliche, and that in the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger is being interviewed with Triple H and Michael Cole being there. You probably already know about this. It takes place immediately after Raw, the interview and everything. And like I said, no disrespect to Arnold. I like what he has done. You know, he's, a bodybuilder and everything else like that. But, I mean, unless he did something tremendous for the WWE, I like to know what that is. But in the meantime, but the one thing I will not knock about Arnold is he is a huge wrestling fan. I mean, after all, he likes Triple H, he likes Hulk Hogan. Of course, he likes Bruno Sammartino, so you can't go wrong with that. But to me, like a few others, I don't think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, we get from that to a big-ass Hall of Famer. And you know who the big-ass Hall of Famer is. We're talking about the man with the big ass. And that's all he's known for. The big ass. I'm talking about Rikishi. Now, once again, another individual that does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And, well, let me take a step back. He does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but maybe 2 more years later. Not now. It just doesn't seem right, doesn't even fit. So Rikishi is known for backing that ass. Okay, so we're going to forget about the fact that Rikishi was a former Intercontinental Champion. We're going to forget about the fact that he was a former Tag Team Champion as well. You remember that. We're going to forget about the fact that he was part of a group known as, I think they were known as the Samoan SWAT Team or the Head Shrinkers. I remember that back in the day a long time ago. That is all that I remember of Rikishi Fatu. Okay? Once again, no disrespect to him, but my God, you could have made a better impact with him. You could have made any kind of impact with him if possible. Now, let's bring up another one, okay? The other one would come in the form of a great tag team. Now this kind of bothers me a little bit because you could have put any tag team in the Hall of Fame if you wanted to. You go from putting the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, into the WWE Hall of Fame, which makes a whole lot of sense, and then you put the Bushwhackers in the Hall of Fame. You put the Bushwhackers in the Hall of Fame. Once again, no disrespect, because in my era of wrestling, they were a great tag team. But in the 80s, we also had great teams like the British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, the Hart Foundation, the Rockers. And you put the Bushwhackers in the Hall of Fame? It's mind-boggling, and it just bothers the living shit out of me and the living shit out of other wrestling fans why you would put a team like that in the Hall of Fame. If you put the Hart Foundation in the Hall of Fame, that's cool. At least you'd get Bret Hart to win 2 rings. No problem. Or Shawn Michaels or the Rockers. I mean, that would make a whole lot of sense too. Or maybe the British Bulldogs. Why not put Davey Boy in the Hall of Fame? Why hasn't that happened yet? And that bothers the living shit out of me. But you know what? You want to put the Bushwhackers in? That's fine. You want to put them into the Hall of Fame? That's fine. But here's the thing. I've got nothing. I'm not disrespecting the Bushwhackers, but I don't feel in my heart and in the hearts of other wrestling fans that they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. That's the truth. Okay? Now, let's also bring up, let's see. We go from those to, oh, okay. I got one. Now, this one is going to be a half. It's going to be a half. Doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and the other does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And it is the woman that used to be known as Alundra Blaze in the WWE and known as Medusa in WCW. Now, there's a two-way streak to this. Okay, Alundra Blaze, Medusa. Does she deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? The answer is yes, and the answer is no. Why is simple. You want to put her in the Hall of Fame because she is unquestionably one of the greatest women wrestlers in the history of this business. And to me, I would put her up there with Trish Stratus, with Lita, with Sherry, and many others in that particular nature. She deserves that accolade. Okay? Has won many championships, has wrestled in Japan, has wrestled in England, and wrestled in WCW in every way possible. But then there's the other side of the coin. And you know what that other side is. The ever infamous moment when Alundra Blaze took the Women's Championship over to WCW, took it in her hand and trashed it on WCW Monday Nitro. And you want to, I mean, let's call it like we see it. It is a moment. Unfortunately, it's an infamous moment. It's an infamous moment that is still burned in our brains to this moment. A lot of women wrestlers, a lot of people never liked her for doing that. They had a lot of respect for her, but they never liked her for what she did there. And I often thought that the WWE would never allow Alundra Blaze or Medusa to come back to the WWE. However, it seems now with Triple H in charge and everything else like that, things have changed. We go from not having Bruno Sammartino to having Bruno Sammartino. Go from not having the Ultimate Warrior to bringing the Ultimate Warrior. The same applies with not having Sting. We bring Sting. Now you bring Alundra Blaze, you bring her back. Simple as that. So there's a lot of people that feel that she deserves it, and there are others that feel, you know, after that incident, that was it. So this one, Alundra, you know, I say she goes in the middle. She goes in the middle right there. We go for some people that do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, from people deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, from just one person that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, now let's see. Now, okay, let me see if I can bring up one other person. There's this other person, Japanese wrestler. I know that, you know, it's one of those deals where you know the name, you know the person. I can't pronounce the name because this is in Japanese, but I do recognize who he is. And once again, it's another one of those deals where you got to put him, you know, halfway, you know, right next to Alundra Blaze. You know, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Does he not deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? And like I said, I can't pronounce the name. I can't put it together. So I apologize if I can't put the name together and everything else like that in that particular nature. Okay, so now we got all of these people that I just mentioned that don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Then I got Alundra Blaze and then this Japanese wrestler. And like I said, I'm sorry for not mentioning who his name is, but I can't exactly pronounce it. I think it's Fujinami or it's something in that name. I'm sorry. But we go from these two names over here to now, let's talk about the three individuals that truly deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Let's go with the latest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. That's also another individual that I didn't think would be in the Hall of Fame, but to me, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame for many reasons. Number one, his career started in WCW. Then he comes into WWE and becomes the bodyguard of Shawn Michaels and wins 3 championships in 1994. He becomes the Intercontinental Champion by defeating Razor Ramon, and then he would lose it at SummerSlam. Then he would be Tag Team Champions with the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels by defeating the Head Shrinkers. I remember that quite well. And then, of course, the ever-famous night when Shawn Michaels and Diesel, and that's who it is, Diesel, broke up at Survivor Series and lost the Tag Team titles, or were stripped of the Tag Team titles, and that was it for them. And then on that same year, Bob Backlund would win the championship from Bret the Hitman Hart at Survivor Series. Then a few days later, he would defend the championship against Diesel, or Kevin Nash if you will. And in a record-setting 8 seconds, Diesel would become the new WWE Champion for the very first time in his career. And he's the first man to win all 3 championships in 1 year. In that entire year of 1994. '94 was truly the year when Kevin Nash dominated, my opinion. He dominated in the Royal Rumble. He dominated all the championships. And he was one hell of a champion in the WWE. And then, of course, he made his appearance in WCW by becoming a member of the NWO. Truly Hall of Fame worthy. Of course, he comes in as a tag team champion with Scott Hall. He would win the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time in his career by being the man to defeat Goldberg at Starrcade of 1998. And then, well, of course, and there's other things that he's not going to be mentioned for, including the fact that he was part of the Main Event Mafia in TNA Wrestling. They won't mention that in the WWE, but I'm mentioning it because it's my show and this is how I'm going to do things. So, Kevin Nash, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? You bet your fucking ass he does. Diesel, Big Sexy, Kevin Nash truly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and if you could believe it or not, all three members of the NWO are now Hall of Fame bound. We're talking Hogan, we're talking Scott Hall, and we're talking Kevin Nash. All of them are in the WWE Hall of Fame. The only thing that needs to happen now is for all three of them to come together. Maybe next year's Hall of Fame, you get all three of those members, and you got the NWO. Put them in the WWE Hall of Fame next year. Could it happen? We'll see what happens. Okay, now, here's another person that I think, you know, he's definitely a Hall of Fame worthy candidate, but I don't know if he's WWE Hall of Fame worthy. You know what I'm talking about. I guess you could put him in the WCW alumni, and I'm talking about a man who is a living legend in his own right. A man who has held many championships in the USWA. He was also a tag team champion. He was also part of the ever famous Dangerous Alliance. And they never mentioned that in the in WWE, did they? He was a part of the Hall of Fame, but after he was called the Living Legend, he was also known as the Cruncher. And it was marked by Paul Heyman. He was the one that marked him. And then, of course, he would go as the commentator for WCW Monday Nitro, where he would have his ever-famous wars with Scott Hall of the NWO. You remember that, don't you? I'm talking about the living legend himself, Larry Zbyszko. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Once again, yes, I truly feel he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but like I said, no doubt it's going to be in the WCW alumni. I think that's what's going to take place. So yes, you go having Nash be in the Hall of Fame, having Larry Zbyszko in the Hall of Fame, and now, okay, I'm going to mention, there's another person I want to mention that truly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'll mention him in just a moment, but there's one person in particular. Now, I'm not going to, this is one person, you know, you go from a bunch of people that don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame to people that, you know, are halfway Hall of Fame, and then, of course, the people that do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. This one, I'm not going to put him in either category, but I am going to say it's really cool that he is in the Hall of Fame. And I'm talking about the kid that had the Warrior Award and everything else like that. Now, there's some people that are going to, you know, mock this or make fun of this in any way possible. But you know what, guys? You know, if you're going to put someone like him in the Hall of Fame, you know what? Do it. The kid's name is Connor. And I've kept up with his story. I know everyone else has been keeping up with his story. And he had a very, very rare disease, from what I understand. I haven't read the whole story about it, but I know that he had passed away, I believe, about a month or two before WrestleMania. He was there at WrestleMania 30 when Daniel Bryan became WWE Champion. And, you know, this is one of these kids that, you know, it's very cool that, you know, when you see someone, especially when it comes to children, that, you know, have certain special, you know, certain diseases, and you don't know how much longer they're going to live, you grant them a wish and you grant them an opportunity to be a part of something. And sure enough, this kid was a part of a lot of things that were going on in the WWE. The fact that this kid was in the middle of the ring in front of all of his heroes, in front of all of the WWE superstars, which was very, very cool. And the one video I remember seeing, I think everyone has seen this on YouTube, and you probably have seen it on Facebook, where here's Triple H, CEO of WWE, laid flat out, and then here comes Connor coming in, pinning Triple H 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, and that was just, you know, it's a special moment. I mean, you can't help but, you know, look at it, cry about it, and it was just amazing to watch. And, you know, it's just too bad that, you know, a kid like that, you know, had to pass away after all that. And now for the WWE to put him in the Hall of Fame, you know something? You know, there's nothing bad to say about this kid except, you know what? He deserves it. He deserves the Warrior Award, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And you know what? Hey, I'll say it. Hats off to WWE for pulling something like this off. And, you know, I know there's been a few people that have had their comments and have their stupid, you know, sayings about this kid. Let me tell you something. I hate the comments. I don't like it. And here's the thing. They're kids like that that don't live much longer, and all you can do for them is give them what they want. Try to, you know, try to help them out as much as possible, you know, because, you know, it's very rare that something like that happens. And you know what? The sad thing is, this kid lived a full life as much as he could, had an opportunity to meet some of his favorite WWE superstars, and then after that he passes away. So you know what? Hey, sorry about that. And you know, that was over a year ago to be exact, and now he's now a part of the Hall of Fame. And truly, hey, Connor deserves it. Connor deserves it, whether anybody likes it or not. So we go from that to the final. I know there was another person who was in the Hall of Fame, and I can't, unless I remember it in my mind or remember it in my head. Let me get out this one deal, and I'm talking about the man that truly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and a man that I never thought in a long time would ever be a part of the WWE ever again. This man is one of the most colorful characters in all of the WWE. This man has one of the most unique voices in professional wrestling. Born under the name Randy Poffo, the son of legendary wrestler Angelo Poffo. Also has a brother by the name of, he used to be known as the Genius. You know him as Leaping Lanny Poffo. He was known as a genius back in the day. And for this man to be a part of the Hall of Fame, he was part of many legendary matches, including becoming the Intercontinental Champion by defeating Tito Santana, and having one of the greatest WrestleMania matches in the history of the WWE when he took on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 in front of 93,172 fans, a record which still stands to this day. And then, of course, this man would be a part of the ever-popular tag team known as the Mega Powers with Hulk Hogan. And then he would go on to WrestleMania 4 to defeat not one, not two, not three, but 4 superstars to become the WWE Champion for the very first time in his career. This man has achieved all, including becoming a king in the WWE, lost his career to the Ultimate Warrior, would gain his career back, and would have another epic WrestleMania match when he took on Ric Flair for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 8. And then he would go on to WCW to achieve even more greatness and to become World Heavyweight Champion there. And who am I talking about? Most of you guys have figured it out already, but for those that don't, I'm talking about the late, great Macho Man Randy Savage. And the moment it broke out that the Macho Man would be a part of the WWE Hall of Fame, you couldn't put anybody better than the Macho Man Randy Savage. And I'm so glad that he is, you know, after all these years, he finally becomes a part of the WWE Hall of Fame. That man right there truly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Right there. So, I've given you my thoughts. I've given you everything possible about each individual that I talked about. And there are others that will agree upon this, and there are others that won't agree upon this. But if you want to make a comment or two on this video, you can. All you got to do is go to this video that's entitled WWE Hall of Fame Class of 2015 and give me your comments, give me your thoughts, tell me what you think. And before I go ahead and leave, I want to talk, well, there's one WrestleMania part that I didn't get a chance to mention on the WrestleMania deal from the last YouTube, the last episode. Now I get a chance to talk about it here. AJ Lee and Paige to be in a tag match against the Bella Twins. Tonight, well, it seems that the Bellas have kind of got what they want. They kind of stirred the pot, the whole thing with AJ Lee and Paige. But to me, at the end of the day, I mean, everyone's going to be focused on the Divas Championship matchup, and everyone wanted Paige to win. I wanted Paige to win personally. But they stirred the pot up just how they wanted, and at WrestleMania, the Bella Twins will probably get what they want and defeat AJ and defeat Paige at WrestleMania. But hey, don't be fooled by what these two do, because chances are it may be good to be a Bella, but I think it'd be better to be crazy and to be outgoing like Paige and AJ Lee. Be ready. WrestleMania, it's coming in 6 days in the main event. Cannot wait for that. Everything is all set. I'm all set. And in the next few days, the main event's going to be home. The main event's going to be, you know, buying up a bunch of stuff, cleaning the house up. I'm going to get everything set for WrestleMania like never before. Like I do every year, and I just cannot wait for it. And, oh, and there's one other thing I want to talk about, and that is the whole thing with Bray Wyatt, of course, is going to be taking on The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And I tell you, you know, Bray Wyatt, I mean, holy shit. I mean, just hearing him talk, hearing him speak, hearing him say what he wants, and then he puts it out there. Here's the thunder and lightning storm. We're thinking here comes The Undertaker, and he's going to finally take down Bray Wyatt. But like I said before, don't expect The Undertaker to show up at all on Raw. But do expect him to show up at WrestleMania this Sunday as he takes on Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Cannot wait for that. And also, I can't wait for what's going to happen after WrestleMania. Because if the rumors are true, and believe me, I'm the one that said this over a year ago, that if The Undertaker chooses to go ahead and try to retire the night after WrestleMania and do it on Raw, and expect an appearance from Sting. Expect an appearance from Sting. And if Sting goes face-to-face with The Undertaker the night after WrestleMania, this is just my prediction. I'm not saying it's going to happen. This is just my prediction. If Sting comes out face-to-face with The Undertaker, challenges him to WrestleMania 32, then that will be the epic match among all epic matches. And I hope it happens. I hope it happens in Arlington, Texas. I hope it happens at WrestleMania 32. Sting versus The Undertaker. The Dead Man versus the Icon. The Grim Reaper versus the Vigilante. But like I said, this is just me talking. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you never know. You never know. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Main Event Talk. And like I said, I can't wait for WrestleMania this Sunday. Live on pay-per-view and on the WWE Network. All will be right with the world. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/maineventplayer. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/@maineventplayer. You can also get some of my latest Instagram pics in every way possible. Oh, and before I go ahead and leave, I also want to send out my thoughts and condolences to a Mexican wrestler that, as you guys know, I know it's been all over YouTube, and I know it's been all over my Facebook and my Twitter and everything else like that. I can't exactly pronounce, once again, I can't pronounce the man's name, but I know he's a legendary wrestler. The last name is Pedro, I think. And he was in a match against Rey Mysterio. I think it was a tag match, to be exact. And apparently, this is one of these deals where, this is one of the things that I've always felt in my heart that, wrestling is never fake. I don't care what anyone says. Wrestling to me is always going to be real, and this is pretty much a big example of that. Apparently, this guy, I think when Rey Mysterio had hit him, I don't know if his neck had snapped to the ropes, but you know how when Rey Mysterio is supposed to hit the 619 and, hits the guy? Well, apparently he hit right over, and the guy was completely out. Like nothing happened. Here comes Conan. Conan was at ringside trying to see what was going on and try to shake him a little bit, but he hit the ground. So that was really about it. And then before you know it, about a few hours later, it was pronounced that he died. And he died in the ring. And that's just, I've had a lot of discussion about this, and I've had many people talk to me on Facebook, and people talk to me on Twitter. And I even had a few friends over one Saturday night. Here we are drinking and talking, and then we were basically talking about what happened. And, a few people see it as, this guy died in the ring, and, to them, to others, what a way to go. Because he was doing what he loved, and he died in the ring, and it may have been sad for everybody, but it was a way to go. And it's like in all respects like that. I mean, it's just sad when you see something like that happens and stuff. And, it makes me appreciate wrestling a whole lot more. And, here's the thing, guys. And this is how I feel. Wrestling will never be fake. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, yeah, you can understand the entertainment aspect of the business. But when it comes to the physicality, when it comes to how hard these guys work and perform in the ring to please an audience, you begin to appreciate what these guys do. And I would like to go ahead and send out my condolences and my thoughts out to the family. I know that I believe he was buried today, and like I said, it was very, very sad for it to happen. And like I said, my thoughts and prayers go out to him, and I'm sorry that it took place and everything. And I also want to bring up this one other part before I go ahead and go. The death threats to Rey Mysterio, about how the fact that they said Rey Mysterio had something to do with his death, and honestly, I'm not gonna go ahead and just say it's Rey Mysterio's fault, because it isn't. I mean, he was doing what he was supposed to. He was doing his job. He was doing his job in the ring, trying to perform. And when someone is completely out, or someone is just paralyzed for some strange reason, I mean, it's okay to try to stop, but you got to finish the match. I mean, and that's what he was trying to do, trying to finish the match in every way possible. And then after that, of course, what happened afterwards. And now, I guess Mysterio has been getting a lot of death threats from people in Mexico. So it's, it's crazy, And like I said, my heart goes out to him, and I'm sorry that this had to happen. And it's just one of the crazy things that happens in this business we call professional wrestling. So, guys, remember, my thought, and this is just the truth coming out of my mouth. I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again. Wrestling ain't fake. I don't care who you are. You can sit there, and I know a lot of people have told me over the years, hey, wrestling's fake, dude, don't mean shit. Here's the thing. I've seen wrestling. I've been a part of it. I've seen what these guys do. To me, in the ring, it's not fake. I don't care who you are, because sometimes you never know what would happen when you go into that ring, whether it's your first or your last. And always remember, you're in this business for a reason. You get hurt, you get injured, and hey, you're doing what you can for the love of this business. And that's pretty much what happened to this guy. Once again, my apologies. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, my friend. So once again, that's going to do it for this very special edition of the Main Event Talk. And be ready for WrestleMania coming up this Sunday, live, exclusively on pay-per-view and on the WWE Network for only $9.99. And remember, the kickoff show begins with the Fatal 4-Way for the Tag Team Championship. It's going to be tremendous. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to take place. The Intercontinental Championship ladder match is going to take place. WWE World Heavyweight Championship will be decided. Sting versus Triple H. Everything is all set, and I can't wait. And I'm going to be on WrestleMania mode throughout this entire week. So once again, guys, thank you for watching. And I will put out another episode of the Main Event Talk very, very soon, immediately after WrestleMania. So be ready, because I definitely have a lot I want to say after WrestleMania. So once again, thank you for watching, and we will see you all at WrestleMania. Why? Because I can and I want to. Any questions? Enough said. It's showtime, folks.